A huge thanks goes out to all the truckers that follow this channel. You called it a few weeks ago. The diesel fuel crisis is already huge and it's only getting worse. Here's what people are saying will happen next.
A trucker left a comment on our last diesel video, top of the thread. He wrote, quote, "I am a trucker, and if they don't get fuel back to $3 a gallon, we're all screwed." He wrote that before AAA published the weekly fuel gauge, before the EIA confirmed the national number, before the Department of Energy data came out. He didn't need any of it. He runs a truck, he pays for the fuel, he knows the floor. National diesel right now is in the 560 range and still climbing. California 749, Hawaii 713, Washington 653. 8 states have set all-time diesel records in the last 30 days. Michigan and Illinois both crossed $6 and set new records. Indiana is 0.2 of a cent away. Ohio is 19 cents away. Pennsylvania is right behind it. On May 5th, President Trump posted this, quote, "I looked today, it's like at 102, and that's a very small price to pay." He was talking about oil. The price is being paid by the people who run the trucks that move every piece of food, every gallon of gas, every box on every shelf in every store in America. This video is about what they're saying right now, in their own words, and what's about to happen to them in the next couple months. Stay with me to the end because the math gets worse before it gets better. And one specific calendar event is going to hit this market harder than anything the war has done yet. Start with Janie Hagan, owner of Hellbent Express in South Dakota, spoke to the Daily Caller, spoke to CNN, clued the trigger on a fuel pump this week, and it shut off at $999.99, short of a full tank. His costs are up 20 cents a mile since the war started. He was earning 5 cents a mile before. He is now losing 15 cents on every mile his truck rolls. Quote, "We were already on the very breaking point to begin with. This is like the nail in the coffin." Quote, "After 3 years of downturns, Hellbent Express doesn't have a year 4 left in it. It is now or never, henceforth why I don't sleep much at night these days." On the contracts, he's trying to renegotiate. Quote, "Typically, fuel doesn't rise this fast. At a slower pace, we could have eventually just raised the rate of our contracts, but this is bonkers." Christopher Lloyd, Richmond, Virginia, bought a new flatbed truck in 2024 for $187,000. CNN interview. He's skipping the $130 truck wash. He's calling brokers for more money on every load. He's rejecting jobs in New England because, quote, "the shippers up there are still clinging to old prices." On the industry he picked, quote, "a ticket to the middle class slowly creeping its way to an economic backwater." On why he keeps driving, quote, "as long as I can still feed myself and keep the lights on, I'm hanging on." Janelle Brown, 30 years of cross-country driving, Spectrum News interview, she just parked her truck for good. Quote, "It made me decide to just go ahead and park my truck, and now I'm actually looking to be a company driver. $5.89 for diesel fuel when like maybe 2 weeks ago I was paying $3.15. 30 years owning her own rig. Done." Scott Schroeder, decade behind the wheel, News Nation interview, company driver, not owner-operator, and even he feels it. Quote, "It's whether or not we're going to get a bonus at the end of the year, or we're going to have to pay increased costs in healthcare." Todd Spencer, president of OIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, Salon interview. Quote, "Fuel prices and volatility are the reason that OIDA exists." OIDA was formed in 1973 as a result of the very first Arab oil embargo. Truckers shut down in 1973 and 1974. They shut down again in 1979. Same association, same fuel math. On the food chain, Spencer said it directly, quote, "The most important ingredient in the food that you eat is petroleum." Kevin Book, managing director at Clearview Energy Partners, foreign policy interview, quote, "About half of the truckers in the United States are independent operators. This cuts into their expense line, cuts into their profits very significantly, and makes it harder for them to run profitable businesses." And the quote, "It propagates throughout the entire economy because we're all dependent on diesel fuel for carrying our freight and goods." Now, I want to thank the truckers in this channel's comments who have been writing in for the last few months. The research is helpful. The Bureau of Labor Statistics data is useful. The bankruptcy filings tell you what's happening on paper, but none of it gives you the picture that the people on the ground give you. The drivers who fill their own tanks every day, the owner-operators running the numbers on whether to keep the rig or list it. Those are the people who actually know what this looks like from the seat of the truck. A 40-year veteran left a comment a few weeks back saying this is the worst cycle he has ever driven. He has the comparison data, 1979, 2008, 2022. His verdict on this one was the worst he has lived through. That comment was filed when diesel was lower than it is right now. The cycle has gotten worse since. Another driver wrote in saying he paid over $1,000 for a single fill-up. Another driver wrote that he parked his rig back in December because freight rates per mile had dropped 25%. He saw the math break before the war started. He was right then.
Hey, real quick to jump in, if you understand that high diesel prices are going to lead to a downturn in the markets, and you want to take advantage of it on the real estate side, I put together 4 courses. Links down below. One, insanely low price. It's going to teach you everything about real estate cycles, what to do as real estate falls and goes into a bear market, how to sell the homes and flip them, or to buy one for yourself. It shows everything. Link is down below. Now let's get back to the video.
What the federal government is saying about all of this is something different. President Trump has called the price of oil a small one to pay for the war with Iran. Treasury and Energy Department officials have signaled the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will not be opened. The administration's public message is that the market will adjust. That is not what the people inside the trucks are saying, and it is not what is about to happen. Here is the picture of what comes next. Truckers move roughly 70% of the value of all goods shipped in the United States. The Department of Energy confirmed it. Every package on every truck on every interstate is moving because a driver is willing to pay. When the cost of that fuel doubles in 4 months and the freight rate doesn't move with it, the driver eventually says no. 12 trucking companies filed for bankruptcy in March. 20 filed in January. The trucking sector hit an 8-year low in total employment in March per the Bureau of Labor Statistics. About 450,000 owner-operators are running long-distance freight in America. Each one is doing the calculation Jamie Hayden is doing. Each one is somewhere between Christopher Lloyd, who is hanging on, and Janelle Brown, who already parked. Now, overlay the calendar. Memorial Day to Labor Day is the summer driving season. Gasoline demand peaks. Refineries shift production toward gasoline to meet it. Diesel output proportionally drops. The Energy Information Administration's own short-term energy outlook projects U.S. on-highway diesel will average $5.61 in the second quarter. That's the government's own number. Their own forecast says diesel does not come down in time for summer. The third quarter, peak demand, they project $5 even. The fourth quarter, $4.59. The math says elevated diesel for the rest of this year. 2 California refineries, 288,000 barrels per day of capacity, are offline going into peak demand. The Great Lakes refineries are running with regional supply constraints. The Strait of Hormuz tankers that were rerouted around the Cape of Good Hope when the war started are still mid-voyage. The Middle East refineries that were damaged take months to come back online. So the trucker who is paying $5.60 today is paying at least that and likely more through Labor Day. The truckers who can't make that map park their rigs. Those rigs do not come back fast. So the trucker who is paying $5.60 today is paying at least that and likely more through Labor Day. The truckers who can't make that map park their ribs. Those rigs do not come back fast. The freight still has to move. The trucks left running set the price. The price hits the shelf. The shelf hits the household budget. The household pulls back. The loop closes on itself. Now look at what already happened in countries that hit this math 2 months ahead of the United States. Ireland, April 7th through April 13th. National fuel protest. Truckers shut down major roadways. They blockaded the major fuel depots at Galway and County Limerick. 600 fueling stations across Ireland ran out of diesel by April 11th. 600. The Irish government eventually announced relief. France, May 11th, 2 days ago. Farmers blockaded the Total Energies refinery in Faison. They drove tractors up the A7 motorway under police escort. They went through the order banning the demonstration. The French government announced 20 million euros in emergency support. French Farming Union President Arnaud Rousseau said the measures are inadequate. A farmer said agricultural diesel has almost doubled. That is 2 European countries where truckers and farmers have taken the streets. The American government has not announced anything similar. Truckers are the backbone of this country. 63% of food moves by truck. 80% of U.S. communities have no other freight transportation option. The pharmacy delivery, the grocery restock, the hospital pharmaceutical shipment, all of it moves on a diesel truck driven by a person whose brake-even is broken. The people who keep this country supplied are the same people the federal government just told that high oil is a small price to pay. If you drive a truck and you're watching this, what are you paying per fill right now? What state are you in? What kind of raid? Tell me in the comments. Other drivers are reading this tonight trying to decide whether to keep the lights on or list the truck. Your number matters more than any data point I just cited. And tell me this, do you think the United States is about to see what Ireland just saw? Convoys to Washington? Refinery blockades? Or do American truckers run out of money before they run out of patience? The next person about to park their rig is reading the comments tonight. Speak up, Economic Ninja is out.